Well, in the coming weeks, many students will be graduating from college. The job market for graduates is getting better, but landing a good job is still very tough. And making matters worse, many grads have to deal with huge student loan debts. Joining us with some financial tips for grads is Kelli Grant, senior consumer reporter for smartmoney.com. Good morning, Kelli.
Good morning.
Yeah, big debts and job prospects not so good. You've got a few tips for grads. Let's get right to it. Get spending in check. What do you mean?
Very important when you're looking at that job market, all of those student loan debts. You really don't have that long of a grace period, so you want to make sure that you get everything in check and that you are not spending more than you make. If you are fortunate enough to come out with a job, just make sure that you're keeping that in check and you're not getting yourself into debt.
Set up a budget.
Very, very important, because that, of course, answers the question of, well, how much can I spend before I get into that debt? You want to make sure you're using a tool either like Mint.com, some other sort of free budget app, even just an envelope system at home, something simple like that that makes sure that you're covering all your bills, you're setting aside some savings, and that you're not spending more than you make.
Now, also, you say pay yourself. What do you mean by that?
That's the important part. In order to build up any savings for an emergency fund, for any of those long-term financial goals, you need to be paying yourself into some savings before you actually start figuring out what you have left to make that budget. Try to make sure that you're putting aside at least a little bit from every single paycheck, ideally 10%, maybe even a little bit more, and that goes into some high yield savings account that you can't easily touch if it's not an emergency.
Reassess your bills. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, we've got a lot of students here that are graduating. They've got a bank account that mom and dad picked way back in the day. They've got maybe a credit card that mom and dad picked, cell phone plans, and all of these things. Now that you're on your own and you're probably responsible for paying for them, you want to make sure that you're in the right accounts that fit for you. So go to a site like billshrink.com, bankrate.com, and really make sure that you have the right accounts, the right products, and that you're able to save some money. We could, by some estimates, save a couple $100s a year, which goes a long way to meeting all those other goals we talked about.
And the all-important credit score, something that follows you for your entire life. Why worry about it so early on?
Well, certainly right now, maybe buying a house, buying a brand new car, those are things that are still a few years out for people. But when that comes around, you want to make sure that you're able to get the best rate. And that means being smart about your bills right now, making sure that you are making those payments and making them on time, and not doing crazy things like opening up a whole bunch of credit cards at once. All of those things can change your score, and you want to make sure that you're in a good position down the line to be able to meet all of those future financial goals.
The average debt for a student these days, what is it?
It's pretty high. We're talking easily $20,000 for student loan debt, plus more when you factor in credit card debt. We do hear a lot of students actually come out with auto loans too, so it could be anywhere as high as $30,000 for a lot of these students.
That's a tough way to start out, right?
It really is. They're starting out in the red for sure.
All right, Kelli Grant, thank you so much. Senior consumer reporter for smartmoney.com.